All right, let's dive into something that, let's be honest, is touching every single part of our lives, our really complex and sometimes just plain weird relationship with artificial intelligence. You know that feeling, right? When you're stuck arguing with a customer service chatbot that absolutely does not get what you're saying. Or when you're scrolling through your social media feed and it just feels engineered to make you angry. Yeah, you're not imagining it. There is a very real reason our digital lives can feel so frustrating. And here's the big idea, the absolute key to understanding all of this. The machines in our lives have changed jobs. They're not just passive tools we pick up and put down anymore. Nope. They are active, autonomous players in our social world, in our economy, and that changes everything. So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about what it even means for AI to be a social actor. Then, we'll look at why our old way of thinking is just not working anymore. After that, we'll introduce a new way to look at things, see it in action with some real-world examples, and finally, we'll lay out some principles for how we can build a better future together. Okay, first up, AI as a social actor. This is all about a major shift in perspective. We have to start thinking differently about these countless autonomous machines that are so deeply woven into the fabric of our society now. And when I say countless, I really mean it. We are talking about millions upon millions of these agents out there. They're making trades on the stock market, they're curating what news and videos you see. They are, for all intents and purposes, a new kind of population living right alongside us. And we have to get a handle on the kind of society we're building with them. So that brings us to the core problem. The reason there's so much friction, so much frustration, is that we're still designing these machines like they're just hammers or screwdrivers, totally in isolation. And this old way of thinking, it's leading to some pretty big failures, both for us as individuals and for society as a whole. I mean, on a personal level, we feel this constantly. We've all run into that unfriendly service problem with a chatbot that just feels, well, dumb. And that's because, right now, AI is just awful at abstract thinking. It can't pick up on sarcasm, irony, or social nuance to save its life. It's great at spotting patterns in data, but it just can't grasp the messy, unpredictable, non-patterned thing that is, say, a human friendship. Now, here's where it gets really interesting and, honestly, a little bit scary. What happens when you take those individual flaws and you scale them up across millions of people? Well, these same systems can be used to exploit our own human glitches, our cognitive biases, like our tendency to seek out stuff that confirms what we already believe. This kicks off these massive information cascades that just amplify division and spread misinformation, making it harder and harder to have a healthy public conversation. Okay, so if the old way of thinking is busted, what's the fix? Well, it's not about a small tweak. We need a totally new framework for this new reality. And this is the aha moment that can help us find a way forward. And here it is. It's called the new sociology. The idea is to stop seeing people over here and technology over there. Instead, we need to see humans and machines as one single integrated social system. And this hybrid system has its own unique behaviors, these emergent properties that you could never predict by just looking at one person or one bot. You know, it's kind of like a flock of birds. You can't understand their amazing coordinated flight by just studying one bird in a cage. Now, if you zoom in on the individual level, this concept is called hybrid human AI, or HAI for short. And this is not just you using a computer. It's a brand new kind of combined intelligence, where our brains and the machine's capabilities get fused together into something totally new and way more complex than either one is by itself. So how does it work? Well, think of it like a constant feedback loop. It goes like this. We get some information from a machine, right? Then we make a decision based on that info. The machine then reads our action, our behavior, and it adapts, providing new feedback, which starts the whole loop all over again. Your GPS is a perfect example. It suggests a new route, you decide to take it, and your action updates the traffic data for everyone else. That's an HI loop right there. Now, this all sounds pretty neat in theory, but let's see how this framework actually helps us make sense of what's happening out there in the real world. Okay, let's take competition. Think about financial markets. High-frequency trading algorithms create this insane efficiency, fixing tiny market errors at speeds no human could ever hope to match. That's the good. But, and this is a huge but, that exact same logic also creates extreme fragility. Because all the algorithms are basically thinking the same way, they can turn a small market shock into a catastrophic flash crash in seconds. And what about how ideas and information spread? On social media, we tend to think bots are out there trying to argue with us one-on-one to persuade us directly. But that's a myth. The reality is so much more clever, and way more powerful. They don't change your mind, they change your world. They manipulate the whole information environment by amplifying fringe voices to create the illusion that everyone thinks a certain way. AI also has this really weird, almost paradoxical effect on how we solve problems as a group. So on one hand, you have an AI like AlphaGo, which came up with these totally bizarre alien strategies for the game of Go. And that actually sparked a huge wave of new creativity among human players. But then you look at citizen science projects where adding an AI to improve accuracy actually made human volunteers feel useless and quit, damaging the whole community. It's a really critical trade-off. So with all that in mind, how in the world do we actually build better systems? For our last section, let's walk through 3 really important principles for designing a more resilient future. Okay, principle number 1. We have to stop trying to build the one perfect optimized bot and start designing for the whole system. Using ideas from what's called complex systems theory, we can build in things like negative feedback loops. You can think of them like circuit breakers that stop those catastrophic failures, like a flash crash, before they spiral out of control. Principle number 2, and this one is so important, we need diversity. An algorithmic monoculture, where every AI is basically running the same program and thinks the same way, is incredibly fragile and dangerous. A healthy digital ecosystem needs lots of different kinds of AIs, with different goals, different logics. That diversity is what makes the entire system stronger and more resilient to shock. And finally, principle 3, we just have to accept that we are co-evolving with these machines. It's happening whether we like it or not. Our social norms are going to change because of them, and their behavior will adapt to us. So the goal should be to design AI that can anticipate and grow with these changing cultural contexts instead of being rigidly stuck in one way of doing things. You see, the path forward isn't really about building a single, smarter AI. It's about building a smarter, more resilient society. And we do that by embracing that complexity we talked about, by demanding diversity in our algorithms, and by thoughtfully guiding this shared evolution we're on. That's how we get from a world of annoying chatbots and polarizing feeds to a future where humans and machines can actually truly thrive together. So, here's the bottom line. Right now, whether we're being intentional about it or not, we are building a completely new kind of society, one that's shared between humans and AI. The old rules just don't apply anymore. And that leaves us with one really big question. What kind of society are we going to choose to make? The choice really is up to us.